What's happening, guys? So in this video, I'm going to talk about the inevitable comparisons that are being made between Battlefield 6's and Call of Duty Black Ops 7's player counts, especially since Call of Duty just released. So has Battlefield 6 finally dethroned Call of Duty this year? Well, I'm going to break down the initial player count numbers, which may surprise you. Also, I'm going to talk about some big changes happening to some of your favorite game modes in Battlefield 6, updates to weapon sights, and so much more. So soldiers, let's dive into the video, check out what's happening. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, Call of Duty Black Ops 7's player count compared to Battlefield 6's player count. So we're going to take a look at the Steam charts here for Black Ops 7, which says it's sitting at a 90,000 player count for its 24-hour peak. Now, if we compare that to Battlefield 6, Battlefield 6 has surpassed Call of Duty big time, sitting at 271,000 24-hour peak players, which is absolutely insane, especially considering that Battlefield 6 has been out for about a month or so and is competing with a brand new Call of Duty title. When was the last time we ever saw this? Now, remember, I do have to add that these are Steam numbers only and that they are initial numbers for this weekend, and that Black Ops 7 is also an Xbox Game Pass game as well on PC. So we have to keep that in mind. But remember, Black Ops 6 during its launch had over 300,000 players on Steam at launch, and that was also a PC Game Pass title as well. So I don't know if all of those users, those Steam users, have switched over to the Xbox Game Pass or not. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Now, what's even more interesting about this is that Arc Raiders is sitting over there surpassing everybody, sitting at 420,000 24-hour peak player count, which is absolutely insane. So Arc Raiders continues to skyrocket, and it's actually not losing players, it's gaining players every single week, which is very, very impressive indeed. Now, I will say this, both Call of Duty and Battlefield are probably looking at Arc Raiders right now and tempted to create an extraction type mode or shooter, and all I have to say is this: don't do it. Stay true to your core audience. That's what we want. Even though the player count may be a little bit lower than Arc Raiders when compared to Battlefield 6, I think Battlefield will see an increased player count as they introduce more large maps to the game, more classic maps from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and I think the Eastwood map, which of course is releasing in a couple days, will bring back a lot more players into the mix. So I think what DICE needs to do is just stay the course and stay true to what Battlefield is all about. Now, with RedSec mode, they could experiment, add an extraction type mode to that if they wanted to, but I'm all about that core Battlefield Conquest experience. I absolutely love Battlefield for its core Conquest mode, and I think they should add an official Conquest map made out of that Battle Royale map instead of going down the extraction route. You know, everyone doesn't have to start chasing the extraction shooter trend just because one game is starting to take off. I guarantee that Battlefield can take off just as much if they continue to do what Battlefield fans want. Add more big maps, add classic maps from Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3, and just keep going. And now let's talk about some of the changes coming to Breakthrough mode. So this was posted by the Battlefield 6 News X account. They said Battlefield Studios has quietly lowered the Breakthrough player cap from 64 to 48 on several maps. And they list all the maps there. And they go on to say Muroc Valley and Operation Firestorm still support 64 player matches. So how do you guys feel about this? I don't play a lot of Breakthrough, to be honest, so it doesn't really matter to me. Again, I'm more of a Conquest guy, but for those of you who play Breakthrough, do you like this change for those maps? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, let's talk about Escalation mode, because that is also seeing an update as well. This was posted by the official Battlefield Comms Twitter, who said, we're looking at increasing the time needed for objectives and territory to be taken in Escalation. We've seen that players enjoy Escalation's fast-paced, high-energy flow, but we also want to provide more breathing room for tactical decisions, reaction time, vehicle spawns, and adapting to shifting combat situations. Increasing the time needed for objectives roughly 20% aims to maintain the intensity Escalation offers while giving matches a smoother, more strategic flow. This change is planned to go live with California Resistance next week, and we're open to hearing your thoughts on it. So definitely an interesting change to Escalation mode for sure. 20% may not sound like a lot, but it could be enough to completely change the flow of that game mode. Do you think this change is going to be for the good, or do you not like the change? Also, this post is more about what we can expect in upcoming future patches. So we're going to be getting the terrain bouncing bug fix, class active abilities will be looked at, and then NVIDIA Reflex's 300 frames per second cap as well. And then goes on to say, apart from that, Battlefield Studios has a few things on the radar, including recoil aim interaction bugs that are being looked into. Netcode hit registration bugs are being actively worked on. And then update 1.1.1.5 doesn't feature aim assist changes. They'll share more on aim assist open beta settings soon. And I think that last one is a big one. I think if they screw up the aim assist, they're going to hear about it. So hopefully the changes aren't too dramatic, because honestly, I'm not hearing too many complaints about the aim assist. So for me personally, I don't have too many problems with the current aim assist. I think it works very well. So I'm surprised that they're making changes to it. So hopefully the changes are good ones. Now, let's go on and talk about the weapon sights. Hellish88 posted this and said, in Battlefield 6, sights feel way too far from the eye. Because of that, it's really hard to see or hit anything with them. You're basically forced to use 3x or 4x scopes, even on SMGs. In Battlefield 4, they looked much better and felt closer. And then Yusuf also chimed in on this and said, I understand that this is a design choice, but constantly trying to spot a soldier from a small square is very exhausting. It doesn't have to be as close as in Battlefield 4, but I'm sure the developers want to improve the player's experience. Please let them know this. Now, Julian, a developer on the game, actually responded to this and said, I just started some in-game prototyping to show how it would work / discuss with the designers and verify if it creates any issues or not. I don't know where this would go in the end, but just know that we're not ignoring and trying things out. So they are looking into the weapon sights, which is interesting. I haven't had too big of a problem with the weapon sights in the game, so I don't know if this is a big deal to you guys. Have you noticed a major problem with the weapon sights in Battlefield 6? Honestly, I've had no problem with them at all. And speaking of weapon sights, Battlefield Bulletin pointed this out. Many of you may have noticed when you look down particular sights, sometimes it suddenly swaps to a thermal looking sight out of nowhere, which is pretty darn funny. And this happens usually when your squad mate has a thermal sight and they are ADSing, or when a squad mate looks down the SOFLAM. Well, in the next update for Battlefield 6, they are going to fix this, so that's good news. Now, I haven't had it too often, but regardless, it is good news that they are fixing this. And if you've been having problems with challenge rewards not unlocking, the official Battlefield comms account said, we are working on a fix for rewards not unlocking when finishing a challenge. We hope to deploy this fix next week. We appreciate your patience and understanding. So I'm guessing this will roll out alongside the new Eastwood map, hopefully. Now, let's go on to your top comments from the last Battlefield video, starting off with Arrow Zephron, who said, we don't need new game modes. EA, this is really easy. Make more new maps. Then proceed to print money. Stop making it so overcomplicated. And then FapJack0067 said, don't care about thousands of game modes. Give me bigger maps so I can feel like being on a battlefield, not action-packed corridors. And I totally agree with your guys' sentiment here on bigger maps, more maps. And I think it's also not just a bigger maps thing, it's the quantity of maps. Let's admit it, the game didn't really launch with a lot of maps. I think it was 8 core maps at launch. And granted, we are already getting new maps. We've already gotten Blackwell Fields. We're getting Eastwood, which is really good to see. So I think that brings up the conquest count to 10 maps. And that's still a small amount of maps in my opinion. We need like 15 to 20 maps at this point. I know that seems like a lot, but it really isn't if you compare it to games like Battlefield 4. So I think that you guys are right on the money here. EA, DICE, they need to double down on both the map quality and quantity at this point and just give us more maps. And also give us more classic maps too from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. Now, user me 2GY5KM6Q said Conquest is where I started many years ago and it is still the best mode, and round of applause for this comment because yes, Conquest is definitely the best mode in Battlefield in my opinion, and I think a lot of people will agree with that. So I think DICE should continue to double down on the Conquest experience and really give us players what we want because yeah, Conquest mode is what Battlefield is all about. It is the core game mode that made Battlefield what it is. So if you lose that, you lose the identity of Battlefield. So that kind of goes back to Battlefield's player count. I think they will see it continue to rise if they give Battlefield fans what they want. More maps on Conquest mode. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Hope you're having a good weekend. I will see you guys out there on the Battlefield. Have fun and see you out there.